don't recall any apology. I don't recall any kind of statement. That meant every producer, every artist, every single person within his roster, we were all affected. And they were fighting over us and we were fighting for our freedom. We ended up in an eye-watering debt. She'd been threatening to leave for a while. She'd been dangling that carrot. I'm gonna leave. Or leave then.
Legacy through the lens.
After Reasons, Kleshay had definitely proved their credibility and the label went full steam ahead with our second single, Rush. Now, this single, it was supposed to be the big one, okay? We're talking big budget, big video, big things are gone. That was basically what this was supposed to be now. We got everyone buzzing, everyone's talking, we could go to any club, everyone knows us, we've got the street credibility, and now they were waiting on the second single. To be honest with you, it dropped in the same week as Britney Spears' Baby One More Time.
One more time.
Lenny Kravitz, Fly Away. Lauryn Hill, X Factor.
Yeah. This is crazy.
I mean, the competition. Why did they release it that week? Gee whiz. But we did chart at number 19, I do believe. Although, also, I'm sure it was 16. I feel like there was a 19 and a 16. Maybe we peaked at 16. I'm sure someone may correct me in the comments. Anyway, for a teenage girl group from London, that was massive, okay? We were a bit disappointed. I remember at the time that it didn't go into top 10, but to be honest, the fact that it went into the top 20 was still pretty cool. So we were happy with that. And also we had the album coming and a third single lined up. Reasons had been our street cred record, and now Rush was our commercial release, and for a moment we really thought we were on our way. Take a look.
Sometimes I get a rush, baby, and I feel it coming on when you walk my way. Every time you come around, I get a rush. I got a rush on you. My body gets so warm. I get a rush, and the feeling is strong.
So we were everywhere. Radio runs, festivals, club PAs, regional TV shows, photo shoots. It was non-stop, and now we were really hitting our highs. And the highlight of that time, it was supporting the amazing, the legend Lionel Richie on tour. I mean, imagine we're like, 17, 18 years old, and we're doing a European arena tour with him. Get to perform in my hometown of Wembley at the famous Wembley Arena and go, hello Wembley! Come on, everyone, anyone who's ever been in a group, ever been a music artist, ever even just sung in front of a mirror with a hairbrush, everyone, especially back in the day, would go, hello Wembley! That was the pinnacle of being a music artist, trust me. We also supported Donald Jones, Keith Sweat, John B, so many other great artists that are still around today. And we also had a tour lined up with Another Level, and Backstreet Boys had also asked us to tour with them, but that's another story for another day. Looking back though, it was kind of surreal. But we took everything in our stride. We really thought that, well, we've worked hard for it, so standard. This is what happens, right? And we had the confidence of youth. Long were the days of the old Caledonian Road studios or the Willesden studios. Now we were at Sony HQ and at the Spiderweb and working with all these big producers, and we were shooting music videos, and now we'd walking to a building and hear our song playing, or switch on the TV or turn on the radio, and there was us. So our third single, So Together, was good to go. And here's a little fun fact for you. We actually fought Michael Jackson's nephews, 3T. Do you remember them? Yeah, we fought them off for that song, and we won. This is a little listen of So Together.
I can't stop missing you. All I wanna be is kissing you. Can't you feel me wishing we were so together, baby? Can't stop hoping time will fly and we'll never say goodbye. And forever we will be so together, you and I.
Good track. It was a good track. And we actually had like a little album sampler, and that song was featured on it. So with the third single pending, that's usually when you have an album coming out, right? And we did. Remember, I told you about all those demos. So the album was called Triodicide. Yeah, we were literally just making names up from a thesaurus at this point. We really were. Yeah, Kleshay for you to see. Triodicide. That was the album name, and it basically meant 3 on the side. Forgive us, we were kids. So the album Triodicide, it was finished, mastered, and it was all set to drop straight after that third single. And that just meant that years of the late nights, the early starts, the club tours, the endless rehearsals, you name it, it all built for this moment. And so it seemed that Kleshay were on the up, we were heading in the right direction, all systems go, and then suddenly it all stopped. Our label folded. Blame it on politics, power plays, and decisions that were way over our heads. We were just young girls, man. And everything came crashing down. Our third single, our album, everything that we poured our hearts and souls into. Kleshay ended up at the ages of 18 and 19 years old in £100,000 in debt. If you're enjoying the nostalgia so far, then please give this video a like. It really helps to keep this legacy alive. Thank you so much. So Steve Jervier, who was the head of Jerv Records, remember the big fish, who was responsible for the hits of Take That and Eternal, and now Kleshay, he discovered us, so to speak, right? And that's how we got our record deal. He made this massive mistake that didn't just cost him his career, but it also affected the whole family, the whole ecosystem that he'd built within the spiderweb. That meant every producer, every artist, every single person within his roster, we were all affected. And of course, Kleshay being his flagship act, we became collateral damage within all of this. In fact, we got it the worst, arguably, I would say. Remember that UK Motown that he wanted so badly? Well, now he was flushing it down the pan. I'm gonna have to make a different video on that maybe, or in fact I'll save it for the extended version of this because it's too deep to go into right now. And also I've got to think about how I'm gonna go around it. But you know, the truth will out. Mark my words. Because of all of this, our third single, So Together, it was shelved. Well, in fact, it was cancelled. The album was shelved. And we ended up in an eye-watering debt of over £100,000 at the tender age of like 18 going on 19 years old. I mean, 100 grand in today's money is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Imagine in the 90s. Imagine in the 90s and at the age of 18 years old and you're in debt to the amount that you've never even seen that kind of money before in real life. 100K. And now I'm about to start my adult life and I'm in 100K worth of debt because these people are fighting and it's got nothing to do with me or my cousins. I don't recall any apology. I don't recall any kind of statement. No closure, just silence. I mean, we were stuck between contracts, so we were unable to move forward and sign with anyone else. And, you know, Sony and Jerv, they were just fighting over the rights of Kleshay, basically. And they were fighting over us. and we were fighting for our freedom. At the end of the day, we were just kids, and in the midst of their battle, we were just a commodity that they were arguing over. You know, no, I found them first. Well, we invested in them the most. Well, and that was basically all it was. So we were really going through it, and then a godsend appeared, and guess who it was? It was George Michael. I know, George Michael. Well, not him directly. It was his legal team. But these guys were a godsend because it was the same legal team that helped George Michael himself get out of his own Sony contract. They kindly offered to help us, and they stepped in to try and free us from the contracts and to try and get us out of this debt as well, which obviously was weighing us down and was really important. Then came the final blow. So Alani, our cousin, the lead singer, she'd been threatening to leave for a while. She'd been dangling that carrot, I'm gonna leave. She'd been saying it for as long as we could remember. You know, like when you're in a relationship and the person keeps threatening to leave and you're like, well, leave then. It was a bit like that. But she never did. She just always threatened to. We never quite understood why. She was just unhappy for whatever reason. We never understood why she was unhappy. I say we because it always, in those moments, it felt like Alani against Candy and I, because it always felt like Candy and I were her support in artists, so to speak, her backup singers and dancers. And yet she didn't want us. She didn't need us. The industry told her that she certainly didn't need us. And so she'd been dangling that carrot for a while, unfortunately, and been saying that she was going to leave. And the day came, and we were really close actually to getting out the contract. And better still, we were close to getting those debts cleared. And then out of nowhere, she goes, yeah, that's it. I'm done. I'm out. Which now looking back, it kind of makes sense at that time, doesn't it? Because, well, what was there really to hold on to? It wasn't looking good for us. But I don't know. I remember a feeling of hope at that time, particularly when those lawyers came in, George Michael's lawyers came in. It really felt like we had a chance and that we were going to turn everything around. But we also had that carrot that had been dangling for years, which was our lead singer, our cousin, our third part, that she was going to leave us. So after Alani left, Candy and I, we did try and carry on. We auditioned for some new girls. We experimented, I think, even with a third and a fourth member. But to be honest with you, the magic was gone. And Kleshay was Leah, Candy, Alani, that was us, the chemistry. Anything outside of that, it was never going to work. But, you know, Candy and I, we gave it a good try, but it was never going to happen. And that was the day I knew the dream was over. It was done. It was a wrap. And after almost 10 years of all of that effort, just everything, that's the only thing that I knew was that group. And now it was done. It was done. I know many people expected me to be the one that would have just faded out, the third member of the group that nobody ever heard of again. I wasn't the strongest singer, I wasn't the best dancer, I was the other one, or I was the rapper.
One, not two, but 3 times or more. Kleshay got you moving on the dance floor.
I hated rapping at this point, and the reason being was because the scene was changing, right? Garage and grime, it was emerging, it was on the rise, it was a whole different feel. And it was no longer cool to rap in an American accent. How I'd been influenced by the likes of Left Eye and Queen Latifah and MC Lai and even Moni Love, who was British, but everyone rapped in an American accent back then. But now we're hitting the 2000s and UK music, quite rightly, was coming up with its own identity, and they were rapping in their native accents. We were rapping in a UK voice, and so now it was kind of like I kind of was starting to feel away in performances in certain clubs, especially the London clubs, because London was obviously the hardest place to break, right? And people had loved Kleshay up until that point. Remember, they thought we were American, but by now they knew we were British, so they loved us even more because we were one of their own. But me rapping in an American accent coming around 2000, it just, it wasn't cool, and it just felt a bit eggy, to be honest with you. So I didn't even want to do that. Do you know what I mean? I was just happy being part of the 3-part harmonies, to be honest. But none of that mattered now because we were 18, 19, we were broke, and we were in 6 figures worth of debt. And I mean, to say humiliated, embarrassed, felt like we'd let our family down. It was awful. It was awful. It was really, really bad. Not only were we split, not only was my identity gone, not only were we now in debt, but it was really like, well, what on earth do we do now? Like, what was that all about? How embarrassing. Like, that's all I could think of. How embarrassing. We've lost our record deal. We're in all this debt. This is really, really, really bad. There were days where I just didn't want to get out of bed. There were nights where I questioned my life and whether I should be here, because the shame, the embarrassment, the fear was just too much to take at that age, especially. But little did I know, I had many more of those sort of nights to come. That breakdown, though, that became a big turning point, because within a year, I found myself in a whole new world, and that was TV. And in that moment, I didn't know any of that, though. All I knew was that my beloved girl group Kleshay, it was gone forever, and everything that I built my identity around was now kaput. But little did I know that I was about to start a whole new career and make television history.
Are you up for it? Yes! Look who has buzzed their way into the studio. I'm so excited because the S Club Juniors are here. Oh, wow. That is so delicious. Anyway, we'll be back next week. But everyone shut up. You're still tuned in to CITV, and right now we have a bit of a treat because Kenzie, Reaper, Flavour, Melody and Spikey are all in the studio from Blazing Squad for more Payback. And yes, it's the last one of the series, big sad, but you know what, it's going to be great.
Wrong, this is a poem for Leah. Oh, Leah, I love you. I'm crazy over you. I think you're really pretty. I really want to snog.
We've got to find ourselves some new.
You're so right. We're doing the out of rhythm one. Go, girl. Yeah. Stop that.
Dreams to breaking glass ceilings on screen. This is legacy through the lens. Legacy through the lens.